The 2025 regular season has come to an end. The playoff picture is set. And by God, the NFL writers gave us one last game of the year to send us off into the NFL wildcard weekend. We'll talk about that with the Ravens and the Steelers. We'll take a look ahead at wildcard weekend as well. Our most intriguing matchups: Black Monday, coaches getting fired, the MVP race, Drake Maye, Matt Stafford, and more. This is the Fumblerooski podcast.
It may not have always showed it in the stat sheet, but you can see him making throws when he needs to make the throws.
Back-to-back games where he has 3 touchdowns. Someone's got to get that 6 or 7 spot.
He's an elite wide receiver as a rookie.
Truly a lose-lose scenario for both sides.
Welcome to the Fumblerooski podcast by Powered 18 Radio and Secret Weapon Consulting. We got CJ Medeiros, we got Justin Tucker, Adam Wright in the back. I'm Chris Costich. Glad for you to join us for another Tuesday episode of the Fumblerooski podcast. And 2025, man, what a year. What a freaking year. Game of the year nominees every single week, at least 2, including this week. We had some good ones. And most notably, of course, the Sunday night football matchup to end the 2025 season, where the Steelers got the win and winning the AFC North over the Baltimore Ravens. Tuck, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. That's literally all. That's literally all I can say, because I said it immediately right after the kickoff. After Boswell missed the extra point, after the kickoff, I texted in the chat. I said, Lamar's about to do this shit. Because kickoff was brought out to the 50. Isaiah Likely, massive 4th down catch. That was like the play of the year for you guys. And then Tyler Loop just pushes it to the right to end the season. I'll just leave it off to you. Thoughts? We haven't hit the 24-hour rule just yet, so if there's pain in your voice, I completely understand.
Let's just get this out the way. First things first, I'm not going to be sour grapes. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers. At the end of the day, they deserve to win that game. They won the game, not convincingly, but they still won the game in the end. They did enough to win that game. Aaron Rodgers, once again, abused my defense. Now, granted, Kyle Hamilton wasn't there in the second half, but again, Aaron Rodgers does what he does best and abused our defense. Congrats to him. Congrats on winning the AFC North. Just good on them, and best of luck to what they do in the playoffs. With that being said, I don't even know where to begin. I guess the most glaring issue out the way, Tyler Loop. As much as I wanted to strangle his neck last night after what he did, I had to accept the fact that he's a rookie. And from listening to like a veteran tackle of our team, Michael Pierce talk about the game last night, he was like, he's a rookie. Just give him some time. That was a big position. Just don't just give him some time. And after hearing it from him, I kind of relaxed. Hearing it from a player talk about this, I decided to leave Tyler Loop alone. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. I have to accept that. This isn't his first time missing kicks, and it's not his first time missing like extra points and field goals. It's fine. With that being said, John Harbaugh, fuck off. It's time for you to go. It's time. It is time for you to go. Zach Orr, go with him too. Your defense, with the game on the line, couldn't stop a soul last night. You couldn't stop anybody last night. I understand that Chido Bayawuzi slipped, and that is what caused the game-winning touchdown in the end. But at the same time, yeah, I still don't believe your defense would have stopped him anyhow. You just would have gave up more time. With that being the case, you need to go, because I'm sick and tired of our teams being in the hole and Lamar Jackson either miraculously digging us out of the hole, or we're just going to lose the game because our defense can't stop anybody. I'm sick and tired of it. You have to go respectfully. Oh, man, that game was the most Ravens game I've ever seen. We've had disappointments, but that one encapsulates all the disappointments we've had, because at one moment you think we're about to win this game, we deserve to win this game, we put ourselves in position to win this game, and then just out of nowhere, our kicker decides, let me miss this with the game on the line, and just shanks it wide right. It's just so ridiculous. Lamar Jackson was not the reason we lost yesterday. He played his ass off last night, and kudos to him, kudos to Zay Flowers, kudos to Isaiah Likely. With the game on the line, was trusted to make a play, and he made that play. Kudos to Kyle Hamilton. Don't put your head down. You got injured. That's not your fault. Nate Wiggins, I think he played better than what he did against Green Bay. I'm happy for him. Keep your head up. But the rest of y'all, I can't wait for some of y'all to be off my team. That's just respectfully. My defense couldn't get pressure on Aaron Rodgers to save his life. I don't know why we couldn't. This has been a curse mark of our defense the entire year, and it just was so aggravating just watching Aaron Rodgers just sit in the pocket, not being pressured all game. We only got one or two sacks, which isn't enough. He didn't get pressured nearly enough for him to feel threatened, and he just kept on making throw after throw after throw and kept moving the chains, and it's just like, can we please just get a stop? Our offense, even though it did stagnate in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, it did come alive, and I do not blame anybody on the offense, even number 77. We'll get to that another day. But all in all, this season has just been one giant disappointment after disappointment. In one hand, I'm glad the season is over. In the other hand, why would you give me this much hope just to take it away from me? It's so gut-wrenching being a Ravens fan, and I hope no one has to go through this. But we're going to have to go through this again because it doesn't look like we'll get rid of John Harbaugh at this moment in time. So there's that.
Yeah, as of right now, it is still Black Monday. John Harbaugh did not get fired, to the dismay of many coaches. But in terms, I mean, as soon as Kyle Hamilton got hurt, you probably know the stats yourself. It's the matter of Kyle Hamilton being on the field versus off the field are very, very drastic, and that was probably the turning point. Adam, what do you got? Oh, never mind. I thought you had something for me.
No.
Anyways, CJ, your pick. Your thoughts from the game.
Well, I genuinely thought the Ravens were going to win. And the reason I thought this was at the end of the first half, when Pittsburgh got greedy, went for a touchdown, they left points on the field. I thought to myself, oh yeah, this is the game that they're going to lose by 2 or 3. And we're going to point and laugh and say, you should have taken the points. And, they came back, Baltimore blew yet another 10-point lead or 2-score lead, however you want to look at it. But, then I see those huge touchdowns. And even still, I thought, Pittsburgh's just going to come up just short, and then we're going to laugh at them for not taking it. Pittsburgh was trying to hand them the game. That right there, that should have been the thing that kept Pittsburgh behind the entire way. But no, Tyler Loop just had to miss. And honestly, I thought he was going to make it. And I had this whole thing in my head that I was preparing for this about, if you kick the field goal, then Baltimore needs a touchdown, not a field goal. This is going to screw you. And nope, it didn't. Tyler Loop just, I hate to say it, just made a rookie mistake there. And that sucks. If I were a Ravens fan, what I would be wondering right now is he, he was a solid kicker this year. I definitely think he was pretty good. But, outside of his struggles to hit from beyond 50, which I think he only did like once, all of his other misses before that, I think, were actually from 50 plus. So definitely he's got stuff to work on, but I think he's fine. But is he going to be good next year is what I'm saying, because you guys know how it is. We've seen it with many kickers. What if they miss a big time kick? Like, they're just never the same. Like, it seems like once their confidence evaporates, it never comes back. And we've seen that before. As a Pats fan, I remember Steven Gostowski missing an extra point in the AFC Championship game against Denver, which results in New England chasing points the entire rest of the game and having to go for 2 when they could have just, kicked it and tied. But And he had like one more good year in 2016, but he was never the same after that. So maybe that happens to Luke, maybe it doesn't. A lot of weird people, and even Tuck mentioned this before the show, that are on what we call Ravens Twitter have said, "Oh, Justin Tucker wouldn't have missed that kick." He was terrible last year. I think that's a non-issue. So as a whole, I'm actually going to echo what the good Justin Tucker, our friend there, said. Why is Harbaugh still on the team? I mean, I'm not even a Ravens fan, and I'm upset.
Consistency.
Consistency. Yeah, consistent failure. You know what he is? He's just becoming the Baltimore equivalent of Mike Tomlin, where it's like, do just good enough. And then you're either going to be you're probably just going to be a one and done. Maybe you win a playoff game, but then either Mahomes or Allen just takes your lunch, rinse and repeat. And one of the things with Harbaugh, it's a double-edged sword, is that he sticks by his guys. And that's good because, you want the consistency, but he also sticks by people who should not be stuck by. For example, their defensive coordinator, Zach Orr. Why? All right. Let's just say you don't want to fire Harbaugh. That's fine. That's whatever. If you want to pull the consistency excuse, DaCosta and Bisciotti, be my guest. But why the hell is Orr still there? Orr is among the worst defensive coordinators in the league. He is continually bailed out by high-end talent. Guys like Roquan Smith, Nnamdi Adebike when he was healthy.
Kyle
Hamilton. Yeah, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey when when he was good. I mean, I'm not saying he's not good anymore, but he had a down year. So, but without Hamilton, that I wouldn't say that hurt the Ravens defense. I just think it more exposed Zach Orr. Because oh yeah, right. Well, what can you do without your best defensive player? Oh yeah, nothing. If your defense is one guy short of not being good, then I'm sorry, you're a glass cannon, and that's just the way it is. The Ravens, like I said, they should have fired Orr. They should have fired Harbaugh. They're not gonna. There's actually a report, which we were talking about before the game, that said their offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, could be fired, which of the three of them, Harbaugh, Monken, and Orr, Monken's the least problematic.
Yes.
So it feels like they're doing the opposite of what they need. And like I said, Ravens, if you want to become the purple version of the Steelers, then be my guest. Because you literally just got the Baltimore equivalent of of Tomlin there. And there's some people that are saying, oh, you can't fire Harbaugh. He has a ring. Let him go out on his own terms. That ring was from the 2012-2013 season. Rings are nice, but they have a shelf life. The NFL is a what have you done for me lately league, and the Ravens haven't done much of anything lately. I do think Harbaugh's holding back Lamar. And as for the Steelers, congratulations. You get your little above 500 year. Please step to the right and collect your one and done.
Surprisingly, Steelers ended up finishing 10-7, believe it or not. Who would have thought? Better than 9-8 or 8-9. How about that? We could probably go away from this topic since we've been spending a good little amount on it, but if you're Baltimore, a lot to think about this offseason, that's for sure. In terms of other games from this weekend, well, that was the only win and get in. Also saw the Seahawks run all over the 49ers to win the NFC West. Rams getting a win as well. So they are now the Rams are the 5 seed. Seahawks are the number 1 overall seed. Get the first round bye. I think really the big story here, Sam Darnold, back-to-back years, 14 wins. Only other quarterback to do that is Tom Brady. Maybe we've seen a new era of Sam Darnold. I don't know. Maybe that's something to talk about for next episode or next week. And we could also save 49ers and Rams for Thursday if we want, unless you guys have anything to say about that.
No. This one, the game itself was decent, even though Seattle was clearly the better team on this day. I think injuries after a certain point were just too much for the 49ers to go against, and that defense was something serious that Seattle has. So, all in all, good on Seattle, good on Sam Darnold. He looked very good in prime time against a fairly good defense and didn't have any ghostial paranormal activity. So, good on him and good for Seattle. They have a first round bye, and I expect Sam to do better and do good in the divisional round. That's it.
Interesting to know. Every time that Seattle has gone the number 1 overall pick, they've made the Super Bowl. Little food for thought.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah,
Lumen Field is tough. Place play.
Wait,
so,
did I say pick or seed?
You said pick.
Oh
said
yeah,
pick,
number
but
1
we know
overall
you're
seed. Jeez. The other Saturday game that was probably the biggest one, one of the bigger ones, but didn't have a ton of meaning. It was Bucks Panthers. Bucks won. Falcons ended up winning anyways the next day against the Saints. So Bucks are out. Panthers are in at the 4 seed. Another year where an NFC South champ is below 500, but I mean, for good reason, considering that the Panthers, the refs were doing everything under the sun that you could do to have the Buccaneers win this game. My goodness. So I think just to make the Falcons Saints game interesting. But thank goodness the football gods came in clutch.
That was just Falcons Saints was literally just a ball don't lie game. You said, football gods were not going to let. Let's be honest. That was ref ball in every sense of the word. That might have been one of the worst That was the worst officiated game so far this year.
Yeah,
I remember watching it and just losing it. Not that I had any vested interest, but dang.
Yeah, I did. I always want Baker to do well. I don't know why.
No. I want him to do well too, but when your tight end trips over his own 2 feet without being touched, it's called DPI. That backwards pass that landed at the feet of Dowdle, which they called a loss of 6 yards out of bounds. Their tight end getting their helmet ripped off for a no call. Tenero McMillan doing a swim move. 1 yard from the line of scrimmage, it getting called OPI. These weren't even ticky-tack calls. These were just blatantly wrong.
It depends on how you see the Dowdle one. I will say, if you throw the ball backwards, it can be considered a fumble, not an incomplete pass.
No. But no, it's that they ruled it out of bounds, despite the fact it didn't. That's what people are upset about.
I see what you're saying. Oh, okay.
It should have been.
That's not a bounds.
It should have been.
They blew the whistle prematurely. It landed at his feet. And it was a fumble because it was a backwards pass. So he could have picked it up and ran. They blew it dead. And then after review, ruled it out of bounds, which that's got to be one of the wonkier things I've seen. I don't understand how they justify it. The refs literally said, we could have changed it. It's like, yes, I think you should have.
Well,
they got to be investigated, man.
The correct call would have been to just replay the down at that point. Mm-hmm. That's the only. What? No,
replay the. I don't know if you can replay the down. Just if it's a ref mistake.
Yeah, you can easily. Anyways, we'll move on from week 18 and start thinking ahead to for some teams off season, or for some teams postseason is another team's off season. We'll get into Black Monday when we come back from the break. This is the Fumblerooski podcast.
It may not have always showed it in the stat sheet, but you can see him making throws when he needs to make the throws.
Back-to-back games where he has 3 touchdowns. Someone's got to get that 6 or 7 spot.
He's an elite wide receiver as a rookie.
Truly a lose-lose scenario for both sides.
Welcome back to the Fumblerooski podcast. Let's get into Black Monday. Head coaches getting fired around the league. Let's talk about it. Which coach do we want to go after first, or which firing do we want to hit on first? Should we go after the Raiders? Should we go after Pete Carroll to start?
His is the most obvious one, I think. So
yeah,
because this is now 4 years in a row where they've gone one and done on coaches.
Something to that effect, yes.
I
Like-
wouldn't one and done.
Maybe
Yep.
not one and done, but a coach hasn't made 2 years, I think, since like Gruden.
Yeah.
And if my math is correct, they're paying 4 coaches right now. I think they're on the last year or 2 of Gruden's deal. They're still paying McDaniels, and they're obviously still paying Pierce. Now they're still going to be paying Carroll. What an absolute just unserious organization.
I was about to say Pierce made 1.5 years.
Well, if you count interim.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, that's the closest we've gotten here, but that wasn't good enough. Obviously, the next season.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a crapshoot right now in Vegas. Like they're expecting 1-year rebuilds. And granted, yeah, like this was a lot of people were thinking, oh, Geno Smith and Pete Carroll are teaming up again. They got Brock Bowers. They just picked Ashton Genty. Maybe some good things can happen, but it was
Nope.
the exact opposite.
They shouldn't have been this bad, is all I'm saying. I didn't think they were going to be contenders, but I expected like 7-ish wins.
Yeah.
Like, there was no reason for them to come out and look lifeless, win or lose.
Yeah. And I think for a rebuild, you shouldn't be hiring a 74-year-old coach anyways. I get Pete Carroll's a legend, but let's not forget that he really only did good in Seattle and USC if we're talking college. But Seattle was the only place he really actually had success. And that's not to dispar what Pete Carroll has done, which is a lot. Like he is a very legendary coach in the college sphere and the pro sphere, but I'm just stating a fact. And the other fact is you shouldn't be hiring a 74-year-old coach for a rebuild. That now you're a little deeper in, but good news is that you have the number 1 overall pick because you lost to the Giants, and the Giants ended up beating the Cowboys week 18. So that's kind of the magic in this whole thing now is what teams become most desirable in terms of the head coaching vacancies, in terms of the number 1 overall pick, who you have as quarterback, how much cap space you're in. We could talk all of that later, but one team I'm thinking about is the Titans right now because they have the most cap space amongst all the teams that need a head coach.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
That's a good spot.
And they've
Anyway.
got the quarterback, but you could also get Vegas, who has the 2nd most cap space, the 1st overall pick. And honestly, hear me out. I feel like the roster itself has more talent than the Titans roster, just as a whole, because they still have Genty, they have Bowers, they have Colton Miller, Max Crosby. He might want to be traded. We don't know. But they do have like some really good pieces still. It's just, they got to be unlocked. So
They
those are
need
probably the
Rhino.
2 most attractive spots. Maybe Atlanta too.
Atlanta doesn't have a 1st overall. They don't have a 1st.
No, but I'm just saying, as far as roster construction goes, you have Pennant. Like, look at that offense. And they've even got some good pieces on defense. All we hear about with Atlanta is this young, exciting team ready to pounce at any second. And they just never do. Like, they just can't put it together. So the team itself, with all that talent, there's no reason they should not be able to compete in that weak-ass NFC South division.
If their quarterback can't stay healthy.
Fair. But I mean, I'm just saying, you still have a 1st overall pick quarterback, and Penix showed promise. So yeah. And by the way, moving on to Atlanta real quick.
That was a hell of a segue, by the way. Hell of a segue.
Yeah.
So they fire Terry Fontenot, they fire head coach Raheem Morris. And of course, now that the video of Terry Fontenot trying to explain why he drafted Michael Penix after signing Kirk Cousins to $180 million 2 months prior is resurfacing. And I remember watching that on Draft Night. I was like, oh my God, that's a guy that's getting fired next year.
Yeah. I literally said that, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that was literally what I said. I what's the old saying? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any.
Yeah.
And when you drafted an injury-prone person, like 9th overall, I believe, and you gave Kirk Cousins like a deal north of $100 million, I said, like, no, he should not have a job. And if both of them don't pan out, then he's going to get canned. Cousins, that deal's horrific. It's one of the worst deals in the league. And Penix, you know how he had that right knee injury? Well, now he's got a left knee one. He doesn't have any knees. He has a same upside when he's on the field, but now he has 2 bad knees instead of 1.
Yeah. And when you also look at Atlanta going into next season, they're only going to have $4.8 million in cap space. So that's going to be interesting to see how they play out.
I mean, the team itself is like already solid, especially for that division. So I feel like they just need a head coach.
And I guess that's the other thing about Fontenot is that like he drafted some good players. Like, yeah, he drafted Kyle Pitts, but he also drafted Bijan and Drake London.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts isn't a bad, especially the way he played this season.
I mean, besides this season, but at the moment he's currently going down as a bit of a bust. But he's not acting like a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. That's the problem.
He did in his rookie season. He did in his rookie season, but for some reason he fell off a cliff.
Either way, sure, fine. Let's throw Kyle Pitts in there just to say fuck it. But when you have a team that finishes 8-9 and losing seasons back-to-back years, when you should be as you mentioned, CJ, competing for a division title year in and year out, that's a bit of a problem. And I mean, shit. I mean, while we're on NFC South, I mean, the freaking Bucks still haven't fired Todd Bowles.
No, they're not gonna. He's probably safe apparently. For him, Aaron Glenn, Mike McDaniel, and Zach Taylor are allegedly safe, and there's just no reason for any of them to be.
Yeah,
they believe in Aaron Glenn in New York, and I'm like, all right, fine.
No, they don't. No one wants to be there. Who are you gonna get instead? Like, no one wants to be a New York Jet.
Yeah,
but you're gonna get some low tier coach who just wants to cash in after 2 years and leave. That's how it works.
Yeah, and the craziest thing too is that when you look at the Falcons, before we get to the Cardinals, real quick. When you look at the Falcons, if they didn't lose to the Jets, they would be NFC South champs right now and hosting the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon after 3 seasons at the helm of Arizona, this being the worst of the 3. That's really all you can stretch it out to be. I mean, the Cardinals did not have a good defense. I mean, Jonathan Gannon, you could argue, only got hired because he was the defensive coordinator on a Super Bowl team. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's literally why.
Yeah.
And Chris, and Tuck, how sometimes when you see an introductory press conference and it's going to go south, that's how I felt with Jonathan Gannon. Yeah. Like, what does he do? He's just there. It's kind of like when Dennis Allen was head coach of the Saints, and it's just like he's a meep, to use Chris' term. He's just there. He's like AI generated or something.
Don't forget,
I remember on Hard Knocks with the Falcons when I listened to his speeches, it's like this guy could motivate me to make a sandwich if I was starving to death. Like, I mean, what does he do? Like, he just crossed his arms sternly on the sidelines and does like nothing else. He's just, I don't know. And for a defensive mind, the Cardinals never really had a good defense. Also, don't get me wrong, Kyler was terrible too, but that whole organization needs to burn it all down and just rebuild.
I wouldn't say burn it all down. They have pieces.
Okay, not all of it. Like, obviously keep MHJ, keep McBride, keep Walter Nolan, keep Buda Baker. But everything else, like Kyler, everything just like, no, it's over.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Jonathan Gannon also put his hands on a player as well.
I remember
that. Yeah, don't forget about that. Browns fired Kevin Stefanski. This was
inevitable.
Yeah, it was inevitable. We were talking about it on Friday. It's one of those firings where you say, well, he doesn't deserve it. He kind of got fucked over, but at the same time, a lot of coaches like Bill Belichick, like Mike Shanahan, like Andy Reid in Philly, they all get to a point where it's the time's up. It's just the vibes are that you got to go and we got to go separate ways and figure this thing out a different way. And that's where Cleveland got with Stefanski, or Cleveland and Stefanski got with each other. That's all it really is.
Yeah, Chris, I understand. I do. I said before, if he gets fired, he's getting a raw deal. And I maintain that. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the Pete Prisco CBS report, where, by the way, my point, well, last time we talked about Stefanski, has been vindicated. Quote, Kevin Stefanski reportedly never wanted to make the trade for Deshaun Watson. I called it. And then it's like, oh, but he said Baker Mayfield needs to be an adult. Yeah, well, I still called it. So you both can suck on that.
Okay, so if he, my thing
No,
is, if he
no,
didn't
no,
call
no,
for
I
it,
didn't say Stefanski wanted Watson.
No, I'm talking mostly to Tuck.
You
but
said fuck
sure,
me.
can
You
be
said
offended
fuck
if
you
you
to me. What the hell is that?
what's my thing is, if he didn't
I
want
got
Baker, who else was he going to go to that was on the market at the
He
time?
didn't say he didn't want Baker. It was probably like a kick in the pants more than anything, but he still didn't want Watson. And the fact they're keeping Andrew Berry, who executed the trade for Deshaun Watson, and foisting him upon Kevin Stefanski, that's just, I hope he gets an OC job or a good job somewhere else, because he got screwed, man, I tell you.
I'm kind of curious where he's going to end up.
Honestly, I could see him ending up several places. Honestly,
Giants?
that's a possibility. Maybe Arizona.
I like Stefanski in New York.
Mm,
I now I'm thinking about it. Him, Dart, Neighbors,
maybe Oakland. Maybe.
Scatterbo. That's
Scatterbo.
I mean, Stefanski with a running back that fucking runs people over.
Yep, he had that in Nick Chubb.
He did that. He did. He did. Any other ones that we missed that we're not thinking of?
Hirings? Or just places Stefanski could go?
Well, I mean that too, but I'm
firings.
No, firings. No, that's it. We talked about Carroll, Stefanski, Gannon, Morris. Like that's all of them. Kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to we'll take a quick break when we come back. Let's get into what do you guys want to do? MVP race or surprising or underwhelming teams? What do we want to do?
Yeah,
MVP.
Okay.
MVP? Let's do it. MVP race. Drake Maye versus Matthew Stafford. That's after this. This is the Fumblerooski podcast.
It may not have always showed it in the stat sheet, but you can see him making throws when he needs to make the throws.
Back-to-back games where he has 3 touchdowns. Someone's got to get that 6 or 7 spot.
He's an elite wide receiver as a rookie.
Truly a lose-lose scenario for both sides.
Welcome back to the Fumblerooski podcast. This may be the best segment of the year, to be honest. I cannot wait for this. The MVP race has come down to Drake Maye and Matthew Stafford, as it kind of has for, I would say, the last 2 months. There's been others that have kind of hung around on the outside, but it's been Drake Maye versus Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
After Sunday, I haven't checked recently, or at least today on Monday, but after the Rams beat the Cardinals, the odds were set to Stafford at -125 and Drake Maye at -105. So Stafford is currently the favorite horse as of right now, but by a hair. You can really just chalk it up to be 50-50, a coin flip. We're going to have a nice little debate. I lean more to Drake Maye, but I can make a great argument for Matt Stafford as well. And I'm going to stay neutral in this and kind of sit back and let you boys have at it. CJ arguing for Drake Maye and Tuck arguing for Matt Stafford. I say this now because we kind of already some pleasantries were sort of said to begin, or right before we begun the episode. So, Tuck, I will let you start and give me your case for Matthew Stafford.
You're
the
making it
MVP
sound
of
like I said
just-
obscenities to.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Tuck has actually never said actually a bad word about Drake May. Anyways, give me your MVP case for Matthew Stafford.
First off, I want to say that while Drake May has a solid MVP candidate, I do not think is as good or as valid as Matthew Stafford. I think Drake May's case really comes down to what has happened the last 3 weeks, and I think that's basically unfair to Matthew Stafford. I don't think an MVP race should really come down to the last few weeks. I think it's about the longevity, what you have done within those 17 to 18 weeks, and who you did it against, and the numbers that it comes down to, and the quality of the performances. If you look at Matthew Stafford's stats, 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,700 passing yards, and a 65% completion percentage. He finished 5th in the AFC. I mean the NFC, and the only reason he did that is because his defense couldn't stop Seattle when he needed them to the most. Outside of that, he's been playing absolutely amazing, and they should have been the number 1 seed outside of that one game against Seattle. If he is the number 1 seed with these stats, this is not even a question. But since he's number 5, we're going to look at a guy in Drake May with admittedly lesser stats and be like, oh, he should absolutely be the MVP. I don't know what it is. Is it a team award that just so happens to go to the best player on the team, or is it the most valuable player on the team? And Matthew Stafford, without question, has been the most valuable player on the Los Angeles Rams. And that's not even a question. If you look at his performances, if you look at his play, look at what he's doing it against, and look at the winning he has done, I think Matthew Stafford should be the MVP of this league.
CJ, your case for Drake May. Unless you want to first respond to anything that Tuck said, but I assume that your argument for Drake May will address those.
Yes, it will. It will.
Okay.
So first, we want to talk about what the MVP is. The team itself is one thing, but this is something, we were talking about Allen versus Jackson last year, right? And I said, hey, technically, if you want to go based on stats, why not Joe Burrow? He did lead the NFL in yards and touchdowns. And this is something, that was mentioned to me before. I think Adam might have said it.
No, it was me last year because I was really mad that Joe Burrow was not being.
No. Someone, you don't even know what I'm about to say. I think Adam said this. No, I think Adam mentioned something, and it was something, to try to change my mind. Something that I was kind of like, I've been turning over in my head ever since about how it's not necessarily about the stats, but it's more so about how valuable are you to your team, like making the playoffs, for example, but like what you do for your team. And, I've kind of come around on that. I really have. So you look at these stats, you're still great, leading the league in completion percentage. And I think passer rating, I'm not sure. 4,394 yards, 72% completion percentage, and 31 touchdowns to 8 picks. I think he might have also led the league in yards per throw. I'm not entirely certain. If not, then I think he's number 2. So as a whole, one of the biggest knocks against Drake May is his schedule. They're saying he can only beat up on cupcake teams. If that's the case, then why isn't Stafford beating these cupcake teams? He's losing to them, actually. When you look at common opponents, Drake May is 6-0, Stafford's 4-2. People say, oh, the Panthers are a cupcake team. The Falcons, cupcake team. Okay, then why can't Stafford beat them? Why didn't he win? Especially against the Falcons. Why did he throw 3 interceptions against the Falcons? Why did he throw 2 really bad ones against the Rams? Like, that's pretty damning, is it not? Furthermore, Stafford can't even win his own division. Also, Stafford went 4-2 in his divisional record. Drake May went 5-1, even splitting with a very good Buffalo Bills. Some would say he should have won that second game, but we've been there, done that. So the thing for May is this. These are ethical yards, for lack of a better term, and touchdowns as well. Matt Stafford, what's his nickname? Say it with me, boys and girls. It's Stat Padford. A lot of his numbers just seem to be empty calories. over half of his touchdowns have come, like, I think on like the 1 yard line, and over 60% of them, I think like 26 or 27, have come from inside the 10. He is a fade route merchant. And also, oh, no, Tuck, you're going to laugh, but answer me this. Put Maye on the Rams and put Stafford on the Pats. If you think the Patriots still win the division with Stafford, and Stafford has to play behind an average offensive line throwing to old man Stephon Diggs, I got to look at you a little funny. You see, Stafford is mostly a product of his weapons. He's a product of McVay. There is a reason. There is a reason he has not been a serious contender before he got to the Rams, and that's a McVay thing. Because look, it's empty calories. He can pad his stats all he wants. Matt, I would even go as far as to say this is some, to borrow something from the NBA, this is some SGA level nonsense when we talk about ethical points. He is a stat padder. Drake Maye puts the games away and they take him out. Stafford puts the games away and they let him go in there. When a great quantity of his yards and touchdowns, or at least his touchdowns, are coming in the fourth quarter in games that are already decided, that is some Mickey Mouse nonsense if I've ever heard it. Didn't even win his own division for what it's worth. But Drake Maye, he's more valuable to New England than Stafford is to the Rams. And that's something even you can't agree with.
Oh my God.
Drake Maye puts up those numbers, perhaps even better, since he's got a stronger arm at this point, because Stafford's older, let's be honest, and he's more mobile than Stafford as well. Also, remember, hey, Tuck, I have a funny one for you. Do you remember the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson MVP debate from last year, where you said, hey, let's factor in rushing yards? Why don't you want to factor that in for Drake Maye? Like, I'm sorry, this is something you said last year, but now all of a sudden, now it's Drake Maye. You and the media is like, oh, well, now we don't need to talk about it. Which is it?
It's fine. Bring in rushing yards.
Yeah, sure.
It's
better. I'm just saying, like, dude, the fact that people are like, oh, Stafford's so much better. Maye has a cupcake schedule, when Stafford can't beat those so-called cupcake opponents, when he cannot win his division. He cannot beat the Sam Darnold Seahawks. He cannot beat the injured Rams. Yeah, congratulations, you beat the lowly Cardinals. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I'm just saying, man, like, that, and you're saying, like, oh, hey, you can't judge it off the last three games. Well, considering the fact the Rams have been ice cold their last 3 games speaks volumes. They had the 1 seed locked up. They were the 1 seed for weeks on end, and Stafford just said, hey, what if I choose to play some of the worst ball of my career right now?
This is nasty.
What do you mean nasty? It's true. I haven't said anything that is statistically untrue.
Who has the harder division, Stafford or Maye?
Doesn't matter. Most of his losses weren't even in the division, you bum. Like,
that is not true.
Who has the harder division?
If my opponents within my division are significantly tougher than the person I'm having the MVP race against, it's obvious that is a proponent to this conversation. Are you telling me the NFC West is not a harder division? He can't beat the
same opponents head to head.
I have to face tougher opponents. That's just a fact.
Who you have to? No, you don't. You're not
the
a
Rams have to face tougher opponents. This season, the Rams had tougher opponents.
Okay, and
Matthew Stafford.
They are not beating the teams New England beat. If New England's opponents are so much easier, why isn't Stafford beating them?
What was the score against the Rams versus Carolina? 31-28, right? Yeah. It's not like he's not putting up numbers.
He played them out of that game. 2 really bad interceptions.
Matthew Stafford is my MVP.
Look, he lost a fumble as well.
He lost a fumble too?
Yeah.
You can
turnovers
against
the Panthers, a team that Maye put belt to, I might add.
Mm.
And look, I'm not going to lie, the Falcons gave New England a scare, but Drake Maye didn't throw 3 interceptions against them either.
Still won.
And yet they still have the same amount of interceptions. They still have the same amount of interceptions. Matthew Stafford just has more touchdowns. and more passing yards.
Yeah, because he's a goal line merchant.
And also 105 more pass attempts.
Thank you. I would hope he has all this more stuff, considering the fact they just let him throw more. And I don't know why. Like that's literally why he gets the nickname, which followed him from Detroit, Stat Padford. This is empty calories we're looking at. And
The only
furthermore,
reason he
if the
counts that.
stats were so good, why didn't they translate to a division win? Like, why didn't they beat the Seahawks? You can blame the defense all you want, but
That's why that is nasty. That Stafford nickname. The first season he was on another team, he won a Super Bowl. That is nasty, and you know it.
Damn it! I wanted to get a take. I get it. I wanted to rip a take real quick.
If you're
before
gonna
Adam died
if
here,
you're gonna
but-
go in on Matthew Stafford, at least do it right. Listen, if you put up the stats, you can put up the stats. That's whatever. But if you have elite targets, if you have Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, the best offensive line in the game, and Kyron Williams, and one of the best offensive minds in the game, there's no excuse for you to finish lower than the 5th seed. You almost
he's
were
in a
this
better
close to
situation.
finishing as the 6th seed. That close.
He
You
is
can't
literally
do
the
that.
fifth
You
seed.
can't do that.
He's
doesn't
in a
work
better
that way.
situation. Thank you, Adam. I was gonna get there, but you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's like the LeBron Wade meme. But no, but that's literally like what this is. He's in a better situation. Don't cry to me about the schedule when he has at least a top 5 offensive line, a statistically better defense, and one of the best receiver tandems in the league. He is in a better situation.
Thank you, Adam.
Matthew Stafford's offensive line is not
He
healthy.
does not get those numbers.
All right.
Matthew Stafford's line is not healthy.
All right. I'm gonna jump in.
That's New England's.
The linesman is coming in to separate the two for a sec. All right. We've heard a lot on both sides. The listeners or the viewers can make their opinions. I'll say my piece on both sides. CJ mentions the 1-yard touchdowns and whatnot, the fade balls inside the 10. I guess my response to that is, if you have the number 1 receiver in the entire fucking league, which Stafford has had in 2 teams now, I would be throwing jump balls all fucking day too, as a quarterback. Like if I had Puka Nacua as my wide receiver, I would just be throwing fade balls all day. I not saying whether or not it's ethical, but that's just in my opinion, smart fucking football. Get the ball into
Okay, but like when the game's over, though, like I'm just
yeah.
saying,
When the game's over,
that's why I say ethical, because like when the game's over, it's like all right, that's just you got to take it with.
So what? At that point, you wipe away half the touchdowns. Then, if we're gonna do that, but
especially for him,
in terms of, since I did say before this, I want Drake Maye to win MVP, but I see it both ways very well. And it's a lot harder for me to really be like Drake Maye's definitely winning, because I do believe Matt Stafford has just as good, if not better, of a chance to win MVP over Drake Maye. And Drake, I guess my thing is that Drake Maye has better stats with a not as good of a roster, which no disrespect to the Pats. The boys are fucking their nails, but Rams roster versus the Pats roster, you lean the Rams. Adam said it. He's in a better situation. And Drake Maye also has 100 less pass attempts, which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers did the same, won MVP with Brady having debatably better statistics, but Rodgers had 150 less pass attempts. And that was one of the big arguments there. Mentioned strength of schedule. Well, common opponents. I obviously agree with that, but he also leads the league in completion percentage, leads the league in yards per attempt. It's the efficiency of Drake Maye, and not saying Matt Stafford isn't efficient. He's efficient as hell, obviously, but Drake Maye is that much better in terms of efficiency. And even we talked about all year too. The advanced analytics say the same freaking thing. So that's That's what I will say in regards to that, is that Drake Maye, I think Drake Maye, you look more at the statistics. Matt Stafford, you look more at the common sense of, yeah, Puka Nacua. Why the fuck not would you throw the lob? But anyways, I think, yeah, that was probably the two important parts of the arguments that I actually wanted to touch on in my end. But DraftKings currently has Stafford favored at -125, Drake Maye +100, Stafford -135, Drake Maye +105 on BetMGM. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll get to our final segment of the day. 2025 surprising and underwhelming teams. This is the Fumblerooski podcast.
It may not have always showed it in the stat sheet, but you can see him making throws when he needs to make the throws.
Back-to-back games where he has 3 touchdowns. Someone's got to get that 6 or 7 spot.
He's an elite wide receiver as a rookie.
Truly a lose-lose scenario for both sides.
Welcome back to the Fumblerooski podcast. Let's get into our surprising and underwhelming teams from this season. A lot of very surprising teams. Well, the Patriots being one of them, of course. Winning 3 games last year. This year, they win 13. Or 14, pardon. Or 4 wins last year, 14 this year. Good. Jaguars, same exact thing. I mean, winning 3-4 games last year, coming back to win 13 this year. By the way, we mentioned, speaking of which, Jaguars and Patriots, only 2 of 3 teams. They are the 2 of the only 3 teams in NFL history that have gone from winning 3 games the previous year to winning 13 plus the next year. The other team is the 1999 Colts, Peyton Manning's second year. But, I mean, if we're talking surprising teams, I feel like those 2 are probably at the top of the list for me. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, they're also at the top of the list for me as well, especially, not a lot was expected of them. Like, yeah, New England went on that spending spree. By most accounts, they crushed the draft. But a lot of people got to realize, even with the schedule, they've overperformed. A lot of people have said, like, maybe this is like a 7 to 8 win team. Even I, as a fan, thought their ceiling, like everything goes right, you're looking at 11 wins. If you told me before the season they would have gotten 14, I would have said, dude, I wish. This is just wishful thinking on our end. But no, apparently not. But for me, a team that I think, definitely surprised me. Come on, let's be honest. The Bears.
yep.
I mean, look, I liked Ben Johnson. I thought Caleb Williams had a lot to go on, but just they're getting, I mean, look, is it unconvincing? Yes, but they're getting these gritty wins than like these down to the wire shootouts. Caleb Williams has clutched up, and I mean, sure, that's also bitten him in the ass a few times, but I think they're only going to get better, is my point. And this is a team that they've definitely got a lot more to prove. Caleb Williams obviously isn't done developing. I think Ben Johnson's just hitting his stride. They went out and they won the AFC or the NFC North as well. For once, they're playing big brother to the Packers. And I'm not saying the roles are going to completely reverse, but this is a team I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they could make a deep playoff run. I would not count out an NFC Championship game appearance.
I mean, they have the 2 seed. They have it. And going up against a pretty beaten up Packers team. So I think their chances maybe.
I was about to say they face off against each other in the playoffs right now. I want to see. I'm watching that game.
How great that would be if the Packers, who always own the Bears, get Lil Broed by them, losing the season series 2-1. Yikes!
Yeah. Tuck, give me a surprising team that surprised you this season.
Surprised me. Well, we already touched on the Jaguars and Chicago, but if I had to guess, look at the way it started and how it ended, surprisingly, I would say the Houston Texans. The way they started and the way they ended are 2 completely different teams. They started a little shaky. They started off 1-3, 1-4, and then all of a sudden that defense became that defense, and then CJ Stroud started to come on late in the season. I'm not gonna lie, that defense is the best defense in the NFL because Denver's defense, for some reason, didn't want to stop the Chargers from gaining that first down. But otherwise, they would have been number one in total defense. But all in all, that defense is scary with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. And that offense, if C.J. Stroud can keep his form and revert back to what he was his rookie year, they're a very dangerous team in the wild card spot.
Oh yeah. They ended up starting 0-3, by the way. Just to correct that. Underwhelming teams. I think the one that might crack it for me, I'm gonna have to go with the Commanders here. Now you could say that it was a fluke from last year, their NFC Championship appearance, but I mean they kept a lot of the same guys, added Deebo Samuel, but when you really actually took a deeper look into the team, they were old, they had injuries, and it turned into the season from hell. Because most people were expecting this team to make another run like they did last year. Magical, not magical, however you have it, but this season was underwhelming for Washington. A team that probably was projected to win 11 games, only wins 5. Easy. Tuck, give me a team.
Oh, for me, I could easily go like my team and say the Ravens, but I'm not going to be that guy. I could say Kansas City because the way they fell from grace from making the Super Bowl to where they're at now, with the potential retirement of Travis Kelce on a loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. But I'm not going to lie, I'm picking a playoff team. I don't know about y'all, but Philly doesn't look scary like they did last year. They seem very beatable, especially for a six-seeded 49ers team that has to go and face Philadelphia. I could quite easily see the 49ers beating Philly at Philly. And if the offense doesn't figure it out, yeah, it's going to be a long day for Philadelphia. They just don't look like a team like I'm scared of. Hopefully Jalen Hurts turns it on in the playoffs, but right now I'm not nervous in the slightest with that offense and what they have running. Kevin Patullo is coaching for his job right now, I feel.
I concur with that 100%. And we're going to have Squawking Eagles on as well for Friday's episode, potentially, to get a little preview for Eagles 49ers. CJ, give me an underwhelming team.
I'll blaze through this one. Look, I know every fiber of my body wants to say Kansas City, but I feel like that's low-hanging fruit. But I'm sure none of y'all picked Detroit.
Yep.
This is a team where, I say it every offseason during the coaching cycle about how coordinators matter. Case in point, their pantry got raided. Offensive coordinator, gone. Defensive coordinator, gone. Passing game coach, gone. D-line coach, gone. And I think they might have missed one or two others as well. And it showed. Roughly the same roster with vastly different results. And sure, I guess you could say the secondary was banged up, but why did the offense go flat if that's the case? And also, for the love of God, damn Campbell, take the points, brother. Like, that's something that he's got to learn. Like, his, shall we say, gambling addiction on fourth down is really starting to hurt him. And it has cost him at least 2 to 3 games this year. He's got to mellow out a bit. Like, I don't know, maybe you get new coordinators, maybe something changes. I don't know, but Lions don't look now, but Goff's getting older. A lot of these guys are getting older. You're not exactly swimming in cap space as we speak. Your window's starting to close. What are you going to do about it?
I'll go a step further. I think Dan Campbell might be a little too deep into going forward on fourth down or just the aggressive play calls to start mellowing out. He's in too deep. Like you can't. You've now established that reputation. You can't go back on it. There is no going back on it.
I would,
because like
if he wants to win, it probably should.
If you were to do it, if you were to just not go for it on fourth down, like 4th and 1 from the 23, just hypothetical, you may start losing the locker room because that's what you got. That's what your guys expect to do. That's what your guys believe in you to do. And now you're going to stop doing that.
You're going to lose the locker room if you keep failing, but I see your point.
Yeah. I think
you only lose if it works.
Yeah. My more point, I guess, is that the guys also see that you're not falling back away from what you believe in. I don't know. All right. That'll do it for us today. That's all the scheduled content that we have. Thank you for tuning in to another Tuesday episode of the Fumblerooski podcast. And we have new episodes out on Friday at 8 a.m. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we also have all our episodes available on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and so much more. Be sure to follow our Instagram, Fumblerooski_podcast, to keep up with the pod and latest coverage on the NFL. Otherwise, from CJ Medeiros, Justin Tucker, Adam Wright in the back, I'm Chris Costich. We'll see you on Friday. Over and out.